Hello, chat. Ooh, okay, let me, you know what? Let me turn myself down on the Go XLR. Hello, chat. How we doing? There we go. There we go. That's a good volume. Here is Mike Minotti now.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
I think that was the joke that one was the first episode of Family Guy.
Yeah.
I remember it was like the first episode. It was like after the Super Bowl, brand new cartoon, and I was like, they had the Kool-Aid Man bust out of a wall during like a courtroom scene saying,
Yes.
"Oh yeah," after one, and I was like, "Oh, this show's good."
Yep.
And yeah,
and then tastes change. Tastes change.
A lot of things change.
A lot of things changed. Yeah.
You know, the show got canceled. It got uncanceled. And then it became the.
I didn't super get into it until I spent a lot of time at a friend's house because it was like that point in my life where like we just hung out at a friend's house all the time, and it was on Cartoon or Adult Swim. Once it was on Adult Swim and it was like canceled, it was like, oh man, we're watching all these episodes all the time, and then they uncancel it, and that was fun for a while.
I remember vividly watching like DVDs of like those first 3 seasons before it was canceled, like all in one night because I was sick or something and couldn't sleep. Can't remember.
All right, I got
and now Facebook for some reason just constantly shows me clips of Family Guy. I don't know why. Probably because I keep watching them. They're not very good even. I don't know. I'm just like, what's this? Because like I see it and I can't hear it, and then I want to hear it because
right. Yeah, maybe this one's good. Yeah, I got you. Pablo, I'm so excited for the Mission Impossible movie. I'm so excited. I'm actually really excited for Top Gun.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too.
Going to see that on Saturday night. So yeah. Okay, so George gave $1 off to talk, and that's to talk shit about Tim Geddes. So I'll do that once the show starts. Okay, we got Last Nintendogs, Stream Elements.
Yeah, just tweet in a second here and let me tell work.
Yeah, we'll tweet. Copy video URL. And then where did I put Twitter? Do.
That's the other popular, yeah.
Yeah, still in my head. Twitter.
Oh, itchy? No, my nose is always itchy. It's like a major character flaw at this point, just how itchy my nose is. It's
it is your major weakness, absolutely. As a person.
As a person. As a person. As a human being. You're really not mad with us? No, because I trust you and I trust Lisa. You call this a AAA podcast and subscribe. Yes, anyone else mad at me? I don't know. I was tweeting too much yesterday. I was pulling a you.
Yeah, pulling a real Jeff.
Yeah.
I was like, what discourse is he even talking about? Like, you were like, Jeff's not talking about the discourse in Discord. I'm like, is it this thing?
I was like, man, he really must be packing or something. I don't know how he's missing this.
I was writing stories yesterday. Like, that's what I was doing.
Oh, sure you were.
Yeah, I got those. Yeah,
so you're telling me you were working instead of tweeting. Okay.
Yeah, I know, right? I know how unbelievable that is.
Today,
Oh, man. And so I look up. I'm like, what is he talking about? Oh, this thing. Okay, this doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Why are people freaking out? But yeah.
Well, it's not. Oh, it definitely is not that big
of a
deal, but
yes.
It's funny. I got to turn my air right now on him. Hot! Too hot! Mikey's hot!
I started my car, and when
it blew up.
when I would drop off Emmy at school today, and I had like the air on and it was set to 63, and then hot air started coming out, and I'm like, oh man, the air conditioning cannot break as I'm about to drive across the country. But
that's not gonna be good.
I like reset everything, and it seemed like it was getting cold, so I'm hopeful that it's okay, and it was just a fluke.
Yeah, I had that with my heat though, like right before winter started the one year.
Of course, yeah. Well, I'm just like staring at this tweet and not sending it, but now I am. All right, everybody, we are. Yeah, I'm like I don't trust what I've written here. I like was trying to reread it a bunch of times, and yeah, okay. This is the right.
You guys hear me?
Yes, this is the right
Start
one.
cheering now.
Probably. You can hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, can OBS hear that?
Yeah.
No. Yes. Yes, you guys could hear that. Okay. All right. Let us do a countdown and get started.
Yeah.
Okay. I am going to actually, you know what? Let me make sure that your video is. Nope, it's not. So good thing I'm.
I think we did that.
It's different every week. I don't know.
Oh my god! Because of the mirroring, my Final Fantasy 9 shirt looks like a Final Fantasy 11 shirt.
Just a big Final Fantasy 11 fan.
It's like the one I have played the least by far.
All right, are we even? We're mostly even.
This is actually ruining my day, but what are you gonna do? I get it.
You know, maybe in my new house, I will set it up so that I am faced towards you, and then we could just have it normal.
Don't have to mirror
Yes.
it. Okay.
Don't have to mirror it.
I don't know.
Okay. I'm counting down. I am hitting the button, and I'm hitting record. Here we go. 5, 4, 3.
Hey, you guys hear me? Start cheering now! Yeah, let's get this over with. Yeah.
Woof woof. Hi, I'm Mike Minotti, and I am a Nintendog,
Hi, I'm Jeff Grubb, and I'm a Nintendog.
and we are the last of the Nintendogs. Today, everyone's still talking about the other people's subscription services. So that's fun. You can no longer use your credit card.
Yeah, wait, stop. I just noticed it, and then I saw in chat to confirm it, Mike. You're using the wrong microphone.
I was even gonna ask.
Listen, I didn't. Yeah, chat's like, did we all just realize at the same time, or did it just change or something?
You know, I mean, I thought it might have happened. I should have checked because I did install that new power supply, so everything probably got reset.
Right. Okay. Yes. Okay. So I'm stopping that recording. Maybe I'll pin that to the end of the podcast episode. Sorry, Mike.
I mean, I could have also figured this.
It's I'm just notoriously bad about noticing that, and then it's like once you started like really doing the normal show, I'm like, okay, this normally sounds different than this.
God, it's not even plugged in. That would help.
Well, that's your problem right there.
That would help.
Oh, it's set to evil. That's the problem. Okay.
I understood that reference. Let's see.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Much better.
We're good.
Okay. Actually,
All right.
talk. Give me your levels.
Talking. Mike Minotti's talking. Good. Talk. Yes. Final Fantasy 11. What's the
Now get Mike loud.
Jeff, I can't believe that you saw that tweet and replied to it and didn't like it, so I know you actually disliked it. How dare you judge me like that?
Wait, is this real? Is this a real thing? Which tweet?
The one where I compared the console warriors to Disney theme park fans. I mean, look, it's okay if you hate me and think my opinions are bad. It's all right.
Listen, I might have, I think I actually do like that tweet, and I will go back and like it, because you're right. When I normally do that, it means I don't like it, and I am disapproving of you. But I think that one was actually fair. That was actually fair.
Oh, I'm so insecure.
All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3.
Hey, you guys hear me? Start cheering now! Yeah, let's get this over with. Yeah.
Woof woof. Hi, I'm Mike Minotti, and I am a Nintendog.
Hi, I'm Jeff Grubb, and I am a Nintendog.
And we are the last of the Nintendogs. Today, everyone is talking about the other people's game subscription service thingies. Hey, Dragon's Dogma 2, I don't know. And all of us are going to name the next Nintendo Switch console, whatever it's going to be. Jeff, how's it going?
Good. It's going pretty good. I'm just over here liking your tweets. I'm just looking at your Twitter. Good. I'm just liking these tweets. These
I
are
have
good
a lot
tweets.
of good tweets. I have a lot of good opinions. I'm usually right about everything. I'm apparently a big Final Fantasy 11 shirt with this backwards Final Fantasy 9 shirt that I got on.
Yeah,
Pretty excited.
maybe I'll put a link to that for the podcast listeners. But because of the video, I want us facing each other, but we sit the same way in our rooms, so it looked like we were both just like facing the same direction, which would frustrate me. I don't know if it would bother you too,
No,
right?
you're right. You're right. I get it. I get it.
But it means his shirts are always backwards because I'm not going to flip myself. I'm not a lunatic.
Sure.
But yeah, he's wearing a Final Fantasy 9 shirt, and it looks like a Final Fantasy 11 shirt.
And who likes Final Fantasy 11? I mean, really. Man. Jeff, you've been busy, like actually working and moving. I feel like you've gotten to miss a lot of the quote unquote discourse this week. How does it feel?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. It feels like these are the right life choices that I should be making way more frequently than I do. I mean, you got into it a little bit.
I did. Probably too much. I don't even know why.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's like low stakes, but it's like really easy to have an opinion a lot of times. So it's like you just fire it, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh no, now I'm in it. Now you have to like get like you dig a hole and you feel like you got to defend your positions, but it's like, of course I could just let it go. That's a tactic I've actually been using frequently these days. Is I'll tweet something and it'll get like 100 angry replies, and I just won't follow up on it ever. And I'm like, oh yeah, you guys, I just decided you don't exist to me anymore, and that's it. And I just move on.
Man,
it works
smart.
super well.
Man, that's smart. Well, we're going to talk a bit about what everybody was so mad about. But first, I want to remind everybody who is watching us live right now, thank you so much. Click that like button. It helps more people find the show. If you follow us on Patreon, or if you click that join button right here on YouTube, you'll get access to our secret Discord channels, which will let you ask questions to us on the show. You can also ask questions via super chats, which we've got a couple in. You can ask a question, or you can be involved in our topic this week, which is, what would you name the next Switch console? Hey, a new bonus for all of those the Patreon, Discord, whatever super fans, Jeff. We are starting the Game Mess Game Club. I don't know if you saw this happening over on the Discord today.
I did see that. I did see this happening. I got pretty excited because I'm like, I love this idea, and with the honestly. With a Steam Deck, it's like I do want to go back and be playing like specific games all the way through. I can fit them into my life. So like this makes a lot of sense right now for me. So I'm excited about this.
Yeah, we'll be playing a game once a month. We'll be talking about it in one of this Discord channel, which again is only accessible to patrons or followers, Twitch followers. There's a few different ways to get in there. We are voting right now for our first game, the June game. The choices are Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, Earthbound, and Bug Fables. Bug Fables is like that indie Paper Mario kind of inspired game, by the way, if you didn't know. So this will be fun. I'll stream the game, whatever we're playing, and I might even do like an actual video on each one too. So I think it's going to be a good time. Now, with all of that out of the way, Jeff, are you ready for this news?
I am. Hang on. Let me just turn you up a little bit because we have a little bit of mic issues. Mike, just say something real quick for the people.
Mike is saying something real quick for the people.
Gonna do a makeup gain of about 6.5. All right, there we go. Okay, I think you should be good now.
And I'm gonna makeup gain.
And I'm gonna turn myself down a little bit, and that way maybe it'll normalize for everybody, and we'll be in the right spot. Okay, there we go.
All right then, Jeff. So first thing here, everybody is kind of freaking out about Game Pass and PlayStation Plus already in the early part of this week. Let's talk about Game Pass first, which honestly is almost silly because there's no actual news there. There's just some people like Reggie Park, by some like two, saying that they are probably, they're going to stop paying for it because, it's a reasonable thing to do right now. And some people, of course, freaked out about that. There was like a Kotaku story, like people are, unsubscribed from Game Pass. Of course, it was mostly anecdotal evidence, but I don't know. Then there's also, of course, the pushback from the other side. So let's forget all about that, Jeff. I'll just ask you, is Microsoft worried about Game Pass? Because that's all that actually matters, right?
Yeah, and I think even before this, I've heard internally that there was some concern about the speed of the growth of Game Pass. But that I think that's from people on the ground whose job it is to do that growth. I think the people at the top mostly are pretty confident about this strategy long term because they could stick with it long term. But on the ground, it's like every percentage point of growth is kind of a hard fight right now because they don't have these big bangers. And so they're looking for every advantage they can get. And the good news is they are still in that gathering phase where they can kind of convince anyone along the the line of succession at Microsoft to agree to spend quite a bit of money to do that gathering. But I think in the next couple of months, they will probably be a little bit concerned. A lot of that could change though with E3, because even like last year's E3, they didn't have a lot of games right after E3, but because E3 was so exciting, they did see a boost in subscriptions right afterward. They might have a similar boost this year, especially if they can make some big promises. If they could say like some stuff's coming first part of next year, and then here's every game from here on is a Game Pass game on day one, and if they have like 10 to 20 games like that in this showcase, and at least half of those are coming out by the end of this year, I think they could maybe pull it off. They are still in a time where they just need to build up a lot of momentum and try to carry that momentum forward until they get to their games. And I still think they have a chance of doing that, even though it's definitely like it's a challenge. It definitely is a challenge. Where and since this is their primary thing that they want to grow, it's not like it is with Nintendo, where Nintendo's like every extra dollar we get from Nintendo Switch Online, it's just a bonus.
Right. It's not their strategy going forward.
Right.
I mean, this is a concern for every subscription service right now. If the economy is not doing great, so of course, if people are looking to kind of trim their budgets down, subscription services can often be the first thing to go. And Xbox is in a slightly vulnerable position because again, they don't have those big marquee titles. Like last year was such a big deal. Halo. Oh, all the Game Pass subscribers are going to get with Halo. They don't have that titles here. That doesn't mean that Game Pass is suddenly not a good value anymore. And yeah, they're going to be getting these smaller games, these AA games, these indie games, and that's fine. But I'm sure Microsoft would still be feeling much more comfortable if they did have Starfield or something like that coming out this year.
Yes, I think you are right about that, where it's like they're in a position where they want to be as projecting strength to project a reason why everyone should be getting Game Pass. And every one fewer game they have to do that with is a big detriment to that strategy. But it's also like just a matter of time also that they can hit their stride. And people are sick of hearing you got to wait, but I mean, I don't care. I'm fine. I'm playing games right now. As soon as we're done with this podcast, I'm gonna go play a game on my Steam Deck. I'm fine. I don't care about waiting. But Microsoft has to wait. Like that's who I'm talking about when I say they have to wait. Microsoft kind of has to wait till they get to that stride.
And it's, of course, like when people say, oh, is Game Pass in trouble? It's not like it's in trouble of like dying and going away. But, just the way that the markets work, Jeff, numbers have to go up. Line has to go up.
That's right.
And they have to grow Game Pass. And if it has a year where it's like, oh, we lost subscribers, I don't even know if it's going to be like that. That looks really bad. And that might suddenly mean that they lose support in terms of like, this is what Xbox is, right? Like this is a pillar. Yep. So that's what's at risk here, I guess.
And it's like, I think mostly we see with these subscription services, and this includes Nintendo, it includes Sony, and Microsoft, they tend to go up for the first like 20 to 40 million. Turbo Sean just got our friend XX Ghost Sniper.
He's very upset that you think he's Xbot killer, by the way.
Yeah, he's like, please. He's like, I've not been owned, as he turns into a corn cob in chat. I think that for the first like 40 million, it should just kind of keep going up, even if you don't have much, because every time someone buys an Xbox, they're going to be getting Game Pass with that, and that is a huge factor right now that Microsoft could sort of rely on. But at the same time, as we get further and further away from the launch of the Xbox Series X and S, people's subscriptions are going to come up for renewal, and are people going to, or they're going to look more closely at their monthly charges. And they're going to start thinking of like, is this something I want to keep going? And again, with like Nintendo, it's very easy for us to just like be like, yeah, well, whatever. It's like not that much each month. Microsoft, it's primary thing, and it's quite expensive compared to this other stuff. So they just have a much tougher challenge in making sure that people still feel the value.
Meanwhile, PlayStation Plus is starting to roll out it's kind of that Spartacus rebranding thing, and as I think we talked about this on one of the shows a couple weeks ago, like, oh yeah, this is like kind of looking okay. Like these games look all right. And it seems like the more we're learning about this, the less appealing it's becoming, Jeff. Of course, for me, the disaster here is the news that some of these games appear to be running off the PAL 50 megahertz versions for the
Yeah.
PlayStation 1 games, which is just that is
Well,
just
how does
something.
Nintendo do this? Like, how does Nintendo? They release the PAL and the NTSC version. Like, we should explain this because not everyone listens going to be like down with this stuff. So NTSC and PAL, these are the regions of for analog signals around the world. And I'm not an expert, but generally this just means like the UK used PAL, a lot of Europe used PAL. Actually, PAL was much more popular around the world than NTSC, but Japan and North America used NTSC, which was 60 frames per second and like 480p. And PAL was 50 frames per second or 50 hertz and something like 514p or something like that. I don't know the exact number. It was slightly higher resolution. So what would happen is a game would get made in Japan, and this is in the 90s and through the early 2000s. A game would get made in Japan for NTSC, and in many cases they were made for to run at 60 frames per second. And to get them to run on PAL, they didn't like rework the game on a fundamental level. They would just slow it from 60 frames to 50 frames per second. And so everything in the game would run 1/10 slower. It'd be 1/10 like slower, or is it 1/6? One of those. A little bit slow. It would be like, and the music would be slower even. So it's like, it was weird. And this is not just like us being like, oh, gross, we don't want to play the PAL version. People in PAL regions, serious gamers, hated that they got the worst versions even then. And I think like Andy Robinson was saying, like from VGC, saying, I always imported my consoles so I could get the NTSC versions.
It's just worse. It's just objectively worse. The games just kind of run slower and grosser. Jeff, first off, I noticed that you never changed the name of this podcast. You just copy and pasted it. From
Listen, sometimes we make mistakes, and I can address this right now. I'll do that right now.
Yeah.
What should I name this? What should I name this podcast? I was like gonna do that, and then I never even thought about it again.
Why use new name when old name worked just as good?
Yeah, you know what?
We still do just have to survive until Mario Strikers. I'm
like, I got to get to Top Gun Maverick and then Mario Strikers, and I'm good. Okay, I'll think of something.
Yeah, but I mean, this was the problem with the PlayStation Classic, which bombed pretty hard, and a part of that was because everyone's like, "Oh, there's the PAL versions of a lot of these games," so and it really is awful. And I'm somebody who's often like, "Oh, the game's a slightly worse resolution, blah blah blah, whatever." It's not just that. Playing Metal Gear Solid or whatever else at 50 megahertz is it's awful. It's painful. And at that point, yeah, you know what? I will just go and get one of the many, PlayStation emulators that works fine, and I'll just do that. Like, I want to just play it on my PlayStation 5 3-year thing, but I'm not going to if it's a subpar experience. It's baffling, and I don't know why this is the case, especially after the PlayStation Classic debacle.
Yeah.
There must be people in charge of this. They have to know. It's not possible that they just don't know, right?
I know. God, I really, really, really hope that's not the case. I think that the one reasoning that I heard that made some sense is the PAL versions, by virtue of being a European release, usually comes with more languages built in, so it's easier to release them around the world. But I mean, I don't know. To me, like, they released it in a region that I don't think like Taiwan is the one specific one that used NTSC and is getting the PAL versions. And it's like, if there were Taiwan versions of those games with like the Taiwanese language or, Chinese, I think they speak there. Please, I'm sorry, I'm really bad at this stuff. But if that would probably be in the NTSC version anyhow, it doesn't seem like that's the reason they're doing this.
Yeah, I wonder if it's possible that, like, oh, people are mad about this, will change it. They haven't said anything, right? And they could have very easily come out and said, oh, don't worry, it's not actually going to run the PAL version. And the fact that they haven't is slightly concerning. So we'll see. My expectations are significantly lower, and I'm bummed out. I'm worried about this. Then the other thing too, like, this one is just complicated, Jeff. But apparently, like, a lot of people were kind of stockpiling PlayStation Plus subscriptions so that when it changes, they'll kind of have, like, it be upgraded. And apparently, they're like trying to work around that now so that you'll be charged an upgrade. I don't know. You were confused about this and asking for clarity. Did you get your clarity?
Not super duper clear. Basically, I think most people said that it's only working with the discounted PlayStation Plus things that people were purchasing through the Sony digital store, and it wasn't working with cards. But then Wario 64 was like, they could actually do this with cards as well, because they have certain SKUs and they're like, each card is marked inside Sony's system and stuff like that. But I would imagine it's probably still only happening on the store. But if that's the case, that's even weirder because it's like Sony knew those discounts existed, and now you're going to take them away. I really think that there's zero chance they could do this in the United States because class action lawsuits. I think the FTC would be like, you sold someone something at one price, then you changed it so you could increase the price. We're not going to let you do that. So I think it is a strange move. It's kind of the kind of thing where it's like you just gotta like literally take the L on this, just take the actual revenue loss on this, and hope you get them next time by improving the service so much that they have to pay the increased price next time.
It is a weird move to go for because we know that all the fans are savvy. They're gonna pick up on this. They're gonna talk about it a lot, and they're going to complain. So yeah, I don't know. Like you're like trying to save the ship after it's already sunk to the bottom of the ocean now, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a bad look. And yeah, I don't know. It's been interesting, Jeff, seeing both Microsoft and Sony kind of having interesting / rough weeks with their subscription service.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Nintendo's like, here's Kirby 64.
Yeah, did you see what I changed the title to? I changed the title to Nintendo Switch Online wins by being Luigi in that Mario Party Gif.
It's absolutely true.
It's
like,
just
except
standing
the
still.
ball. It's just Kirby.
Yeah.
It's that low-res Kirby from Kirby 64.
Yeah.
Crystal shards.
Yes, and
It's
everything
incredible.
else, everyone's just like gesticulating wildly around Nintendo and throwing themselves off cliffs.
Gesticulating.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So I mean, it is funny. Like that is at least the position Nintendo is in, as the problems that it has. At some point, it could just be like, here's Game Boy. It's on Switch now. We all kind of understand what that means. It won't be that many questions aside from like, what would it look like?
Mm-hmm.
What's the emulation like? Granted, even when Nintendo 64 emulation was poor, they did fix it. I'm kind of surprised how much they fixed it, but they did. And I wonder if Sony's going to do anything like that. All right, moving on here. So yes, as of just like the other day, you can no longer add funds to the 3DS and Wii U US stores with credit cards. Starting on August 29th, you will no longer be able to use eShop cards either. There's a bit of a mad rush, Jeff, from some people kind of trying to buy 3DS and Wii U games while they still can. Have you been indulging in any of that?
I was about to, and then I stopped myself because I remembered I hacked my 3DS, and I'm just gonna live that life. Like
I had to be honest, Jeff. Like, I'm not gonna go buy 3DS games. Like, yes, I would. I'll just get.
I
them.
bought.
They
I bought
don't
a
want
lot
me
of
to buy
3DS
them anymore.
games.
If I
got
can't
most
buy
of the ones I want.
Yes, I also have bought a lot of 3. Honestly, I'm probably also not going to even do that. I have probably all the 3DS games I'm going to need. I'm not going to like FOMO go on a shopping spree, I guess. Like worry, like what if someday in the future I decide I really want to play like Kick or Uprising wouldn't even be a good example because I would just go buy a cartridge of that. I don't know. I have no idea what if I really, really want to play specifically the 3DS version of A Link to the Past on the Virtual Console, right? I'm not going to do that kind of thing.
Mike, I think this is going to be the moment where I just do it. They're not cartridges. Everyone keeps calling the Switch and the 3DS thing cartridges. They're cards. They're game cards. Cartridges are different. They have the silicone on the thing. I can't help it, Mike. I've been seeing it like for the last month everywhere, and I'm like, I'm not going to be pedantic here. I'm not going to be pedantic here. But then Mike Lenati says it, and I'm like, the time is now. They're cards, not cartridges.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry.
I wasn't gonna say anything either, but your kid sure is banging on something over there.
I don't think it's picking up with the podcast. It might be. Is it picking up with the podcast, everybody?
Probably. What does it matter? It bugs me, Jeff. What about my feelings?
It's like the drum kit. She hasn't played with it for forever, and now we're ready to move. And she's like, "Oh, this thing. Okay,
no,
so
this
of course.
is fun." All right, sorry, Jeff. The game cards. Anyways, here next up, hey, that Wonder Boy collection. We were talking about all these retro game collections coming out on Nintendo consoles, and somebody's like, the Wonder Boy collection. I was like, the what? That is a thing, and they told me more about. Also, it is coming out on June 3rd, and this does just have a bunch of old Wonder Boy games. Although oddly, you need the collector's edition to get some of them. I think, including the Dragon Strap, which is like the best one according to most people. So that's weird. But hey, that has a release date. You know what else has a release date is Lord of the Rings Gollum, which is coming out September 1st for most consoles, but not the Switch. That one is going to be coming out later. Jeff, are you gonna hold out for that sweet Switch version of the Gollum stealth action game?
I think I will never, ever, ever play the Gollum game on Switch. There's just no way that ever happens.
Jeff, I think a lot of people are just never going to play this game. It was funny because
That's
IGN had
probably
IGN had a preview, and it was one of those things where it's like, we're going to show maybe just IGN 20 minutes of offhand footage. You know, it's IGN, and IGN's preview is even like, this game looks bad. So, it's one of those things where it's like, you hear about the game idea, and you're like, that sounds kind of dumb, and then maybe the game is actually just going to be dumb. So, I don't know. I still can't believe we've been in this oops all Mordor phase of Middle Earth games for like a decade now, Jeff.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're kind of a bigger Lord of the Rings fan than I am. What do you want them to be doing?
Someone said Stardew Valley, but in the Shire. That sounds pretty nice.
Fuck, that's a good idea.
That's a great idea. Oh my god!
Honestly, more time. I would love to spend more time in the Shire in any video game. That is a really good idea.
Like maybe like a game where you're like a ranger in like Arnor, which is kind of like the Northern Kingdom before it became the Hobbit. There's a bunch of stuff like the Lich King, I almost said Lich King, the Witch King of Angmar. There's a lot of things, like something that's real horse rider focused, taking place in Rohan.
That'd be cool.
It's just weird that we're always in Mordor.
Right. Yes. I mean, I get it. Games need conflict, right? So I get why that's like the first thing to go to, but okay, so people wanted me to run a poll because people are like, oh, I call it cartridges. And so I ran a poll. Nintendo Switch uses game cards or game cards because it's just a fact. We're not throwing this one up to opinion. It's just the fact that they're game cards. They are physically not cartridges.
Just been running these Banana Republic polls lately where it's just like...
It's good. It's good to be the king. It's good to be the king.
I don't even know if Banana Republic makes sense in that context. Probably not at all. Hey, Forrest Minish is here because you were talking about Minish Cap. Man, Minish Cap's a good game, Jeff. You should play that.
I really do plan to play it. It's maybe we should make it like the second, like put it up for a poll for the second game club thing.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, maybe in July we'll put it in and see if that gets in there. I'd happily play. It's funny because Link's Awakening is your favorite game ever, not just favorite Zelda game, and yet you have no relationship with like the games that are the most like it, quote unquote,
right? The Capcom one, and I mean that's very much in line with my behaviors, right? We've talked about this before, where it's like if I like one thing and the next one feels like it is. It's a follow-up, but it doesn't have the exact sort of ingredients that I want. I feel sort of abandoned. Donkey Kong Country 2, there's no Donkey Kong. Metal Gear Solid 2, there's no there's no snakes. So I didn't play it. And these games, it's like, oh, these games are follow-ups, but they're made by Capcom, not Nintendo, so I didn't play them. Or at least, I tried them very briefly, and then I'm like, oh, I'm not getting past this early stage of a Zelda game, which is like, you're right. Like, they're like every slow Zelda start. So why am I just not like sticking with it like I would with anything else?
Now, the Oracle games aren't too bad about that. Minish Cap does have a bit of a slow start, but it's not as bad as like Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword still. And once you get past that, it is very good.
I mean, it's gorgeous. It looks gorgeous to this day.
It looks really good. It has it has some of my favorite like power-ups and dungeons of any of the top down, like the Sky Temple dungeon, where you get not Rock's feather, but Rock's cape, where you jump and then do a glide. That feels so good. So yeah, there's a lot to like about Minish Cap. But it was that fun era where like each Zelda game has to have like a kind of a gimmicky thing. This one's like, oh, you get small. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I like that. Let's go for it. Okay. Next thing here, Capcom has launched a Dragon's Dogma 10th anniversary website. They also had a kind of a tweet from the official Dragon's Dogma account where it's like as we get ready for the future, ... Jeff, I know that Dragon's Dogma 2 has been on that was in the Nvidia list, maybe even that separate Capcom leak. This is coming, right? Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to be announced this summer, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, it was in the big Capcom hack and stuff, so it's like this is something they've definitely been working on. It's just a matter of like, is it going to be anywhere near the original projected date that they said they were going to like start talking about it and release it? And it's like we're getting to that time where if it's ready, they should be able to announce it. So, I think this gets announced. I think it's part of Capcom's like, listen, we have nailed all the stuff we've tried to do in the last few years in terms of making sure that our franchises that are big keep getting bigger. We have some leeway to like maybe make another one of these franchises that is right there on the cusp into something big as well. Now we'll have even more of these big brands that we can always rely on and just keep going back to. Dragon's Dogma definitely seems like the one that has the best chance because it has this like really loyal fan base. And so, yeah, I think they've been working on it. I totally expect it to be announced very soon, probably this summer, around maybe next month.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it could do really well. They can almost position it as like, hey, you liked Elden Ring. Well, there's not going to be an Elden Ring 2 anytime soon. This is kind of like that in some ways. I never played the first one. I really want to, and I know it's on Switch. I don't know, Dragon's Dogma 2 would come out on Switch. Maybe Switch 2, or whatever our community decides to call it today. That'd be another fun one, perhaps, for the game mess game club. Dragon's Dogma. So many good opportunities here.
All right, I'm getting mad. Turbo Sean, who I had to time out for saying that Game Card is just Nintendo's marketing lull, and so he's been timed out. But okay, so then is a 64 DD disc was that a cartridge or a floppy disk? Is a floppy disk a cartridge? Because it's not like that. The cartridge has silicone that becomes part of like the whole unit. It like can have chips on it, for example, that like the Super FX chip can be on there because it is more silicon that connects to the whole thing. That's what a cartridge was from like the Fair Channel Channel F or the whatever it's called. From the very beginning, that's what it was. And then there are other things that could store stuff, and these are discs and these like basically game cards, memory cards, things like that. And there's a difference between the two. That's my point.
What's a UMD aside from being a UMD?
Well, it's a universal media disc, Michael.
It's a universal media. This is like that cheesecake thing, which I've been thinking about nonstop. Yes. It's definitely not a cake. I know that. You know what? We didn't even think about it, but key lime pie, which most people think is a pie, cheesecake is so close to basically being. It has to be in the same category as key lime pie. Whatever key lime pie is, cheesecake has to be there also. And maybe they're both tarts. I saw that. That makes sense. But they're not cakes. There's no way cheesecake is a cake. Anywho, Reggie Fils-Aimé, did I say that right? Is anyone mad at me? He told.
I don't think so.
Yes, I think I got this. He has been quoted as saying that game industry leaders need to embrace unions and move on. This is kind of related, Jeff, to Raven, voting to become the.
I lost you. Wait, I lost everything. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. Let me pause this because everything just stopped working right there. I can't hear myself anymore. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm sorry. I must have just hit the volume on this headphone thing. Okay, weird. Because everything went silent, and then I couldn't even hear my monitor anymore. So I'm like,
I was like, everything's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
So this is related to Raven, who's been working on Warzone for Call of Duty. Their testers just had their vote. They're going to be the first recognized gaming union. So that's what's kind of timely about this. Jeff, you cover this. What is Reggie saying here?
Yeah, so he spoke to Wall Street Journal, or I'm sorry, the Washington Post, and he was asked about the union with the Raven stuff, like you said, and he basically put it. I think in probably the most logical way that you could for like if you are someone who is in charge of one of these companies, instead of trying to fight it and undermine unions, if the workers want a union, just accept it and move on. That's almost his words verbatim. He's like, it's not good or bad if they want a union. If it's just is what it is. And then if they do want one, you need to embrace that and then work with your workers on making sure that you can work with that union going forward. Because it's like, whether you're negotiating with one worker or you're negotiating with all of them together, you're still going to have to work with these people. So if it's what they want, that's fine and move on. He says he's worked in a lot of industries that have had unions and it's has a lot of unionization and it's not a good or a bad thing. And that's like definitely true. Like when he worked at Pizza Hut, he would have been dealing with like a lot of like truckers, right. And truckers have huge unions and stuff like that. So he would have had a lot of experience with this stuff. And yeah, I think he's right to say it's not good or bad for his position. He just needs to like figure out that business reality going forward and then do what's best for his business. And I think that's the right lens to look at unionization through instead of trying to fight it. Because to me, every time you fight it, it just highlights all the reasons why people would want a union in the first place, sure. Right?
Right. It is like, it is kind of things like, well, why don't you want us to unionize so badly, right? Like, doesn't it start to get suspicious? Jeff, are the floodgates going to open a bit now that Raven has come forward and done this? It seems like for almost as long as we've been doing this, for 10 years, we've all been wondering, when are the unions really coming? There's been talk, and now, okay, we got one. Is it going to take another like 20 years to get the next gaming union?
Yeah, it feels like I feel like the seal's been broken, right? Once someone can look and say, "Hey, it's worked," and we could do the same thing, we could just follow the same path they followed. I think a lot of people do exactly that. I mean, that's what we saw in games media, right? Like a lot of places, started unionized after the first couple pulled the trigger, and then everywhere started doing it. So I totally see that as something where game developers will look to that, and there will be certain types of game developers that are still going to be resistant, but people on the lower end of the totem pole, especially anyone who is working in QA, very likely to want to continue to do exactly the way that the Raven QA team did.
All right, Jeff, that's it for the news. Are you ready for our questions from the community?
Yeah, let's get to that right after this.
Oh,
I think she pooped her pants, so I'm gonna change her diaper.
That's
I'll be right back.
because I have to pee. I'll be right back, everybody.
Sounds good.
Then I'll play music for you on my
Oop.
Tin Whistly thing.
I know, but soft meat doesn't need it.
Hi, Penny. Hi, puppy. It's my puppy Penny. Man, Bravely Default 1 is so good. Then you have Bravely Default 2 over there. Bravely 2nd, also good. Bravely Default 2 just did not hit, man. Did not hit for me. Don't know why. Maybe I'm a bad person. Who just entered this channel?
Me, because I'm trapped with that air.
Well, I'm here. I'm back now. How come I can't pin messages in Discord?
You should be able to. You have an administrator role, and you're a moderator.
There's something wrong because we couldn't integrate my Twitch. I can't pin message. I mean, you just right click the things and say pin message, where it would say reply, mark in red, copy message links.
Yeah. It should be in that menu.
Yeah, I don't have that. It's weird.
We can look into it.
Some sort of weird block that one of you guys did. Maybe one of those times Dick Turbo jokingly banned me. Everything got messed up. That's what I think happened.
By the way, since I've been silenced in the chat about it, the difference between cartridge and card is literally just the size. Don't let Jeff tell you otherwise.
Look, I have no actual opinion. I don't care. What Mike to cry on stream, man? What would make me cry on stream? I don't know. Might take a lot. Maybe if Jeff just pushes the Kingdom Hearts button so hard. Who knows? Hey, it's Jeff.
I'm back. Let's get into this. Okay. Questions, right?
Yep.
Okay. I will do the countdown. 5, 4, 3.
All right, Jeff, let's get to these questions from our Discord community. First up from Dr. Turbo Sus. Hey, little berry boys. I really don't want to be called a little berry boy, Jeff. I don't know what to do because I know expressing that just makes it's going to happen more, but I also just can't let it go. So I'm just going to hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if we just no sell it, people will get bored. Do you think that'll happen?
You no sell it. You did this.
Okay, well, listen, I don't want to be called a little berry boy anymore, so I don't see the point in pointing fingers.
So now, okay, well, look, if you don't want to, then we're probably fine. People respect you.
Okay. That's right. I do got to remember. I got to talk shit about Tim Getty. So when we get that $1 George thing, remind me to do that.
We'll get there. Don't worry. All right. Dr. Turbo asks, Why do you think we never got another mini console? After the NES and SNES were huge successes, it seemed clear that Nintendo 64 Mini was due, but it never happened. Even a Game Boy Advance Classic version with 20 to 30 games preloaded would sell like water in the desert. Jeff, I think there's a lot of weird factors to this. First off, Nintendo's full, like the Switch became such a success that they almost seemed less interested in getting being like that involved in other sectors, and I think they also wanted to leverage their older games in a subscription service like they do now instead. And yes, they have the Game and Watch thing, which is
I
it's a way
mean,
it's a way for them to take advantage of way fewer games
right.
but still kind of make that money.
They don't need to use more powerful chips. They also don't need to license third-party games.
Mhm.
It makes it very. I bet those things are very lucrative in a way that even the like Super NES wasn't. Like a Super NES Mini wasn't, because these things are just all Nintendo games, and they're probably less powerful chips, and they're probably easy to package together, and the screens are very cheap right now, so that's why.
And they're still weird about Nintendo 64. Like, for some reason,
True.
even still now, they're like, we can't just give people a small Nintendo 64. Like, that's a big console, right? Like, even the way they treat it on NSO is still kind of ridiculous, where you get one game a month because they're Nintendo 64 games. That's like worth 20 NES games. If you say so, Nintendo. I don't know. I would have thought a classic Game Boy at least would have happened, but I don't even think that's going to be a thing. Yeah, I think you're right. Like, we'll just get those Game and Watch things. But even then, it's like there's only so many franchises they can really get away with that. We were talking about this before. You could maybe do a Pokemon thing, and I don't know if it would be a Game and Watch per se. It may look more like a Game Boy Pocket. You could do a standalone Pokemon product like that, and maybe something like Kirby. But then otherwise, it starts getting weird. So I don't know. I think that 99% of their headspace is in the NSO market with that stuff. God Rilsa says, well, now that Embracer has stated remasters and whatnot for a whole bunch of the IP they just bought, can only hope we see Tomb Raider games on Switch, as well as some good old legacy of Kane. Yeah, that would be pretty great, actually, if they would do some nice ports of those old Tomb Raider games. I've had a weird itch to play those, Jeff. As a kid, I actually did not play them very much. I think I found them really confusing. I spent most of my time doing that tutorial, which was a great tutorial where you were running around Lara Croft Manor. You can lock the guy into the freezer. You could take a shower, which as and the 12-year-old boy was very exciting. So yes, that was all good stuff. Legacy of Kain, I'm interested to play just to kind of see what everyone gets so worked up about. I think I had the Dreamcast game and I thought it was fun. But I'm surprised it's something people seem to care so deeply about still.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things where it's like we never got the later follow-ups that were bad that sort of killed the momentum for wanting to bring that stuff back. So yeah, I think people are just going to keep carrying that torch.
Ezipsa says, do you ever think there may be time where Nintendo releases games on PC? Obviously, never day and date, but something akin to PlayStation with ports of, let's just say, Switch games when the Switch 2 is out. It'd be great to see Metroid Prime 4 launch on PC 6 months before Prime 5 releases on Switch. You never say never with Nintendo.
Right.
I'll tell you what, though. They'll be last to do it.
Yes. Like, very much, like, way beyond anyone else. Like, it'll be, like, years after it's so normal for Sony to do that. So, yeah.
Jumpmat says, is Xbox working on any 3D platformers? It's weird they wouldn't make a new Banjo-Kazooie with the resurgence of the genre. To connect the question to Nintendo, if Microsoft were to make a Banjo game, do you think they would put it on Switch? It feels like Microsoft still feels burnt out from the kind of failures that they had in that genre in the Xbox and Xbox 360 days. Blinks and Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts, and even things like Cameo, which are a bit on the action adventure side. But yeah, even when the kind of resurgence happened, they sort of had to wave at it as it went by, and it may have already have gone by, Jeff. I don't know. Maybe Kirby is showing there's a bit more boom in there. But yeah, I mean, the question is again, like, who would make it? Now, granted, they had Psychonauts 2, which was them, quote unquote, right? And maybe Double Fine will be able to kind of slide in there and just do something else, whether it's a Psychonauts 3 or another 3D platformer. But otherwise, Rare's not going to get back into that. I mean, the people at Rare who knew how to make 3D platformers probably aren't really there anymore anyways,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they went to Platonic. Yeah.
hmm So yeah, I kind of asked this when people were like, "Oh wow, Marvel offered its license to Microsoft first before they went to Sony, and they said no back in like 2014, whatever." And I was like, "Well, who would Microsoft had to make Spider-Man games
Right.
then, right?" Everyone's like, "Oh, they could have just had Insomniac do it before PlayStation bought them." It's like, "Oh, okay, I get, yeah, sure, they could just throw money at some third-party studio." But even back then, that was kind of not how things were working anymore necessarily. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
No,
Some people have yelled at me
think
and
that's
told
mostly
me as
right.
much.
Yeah,
But
that's right.
I wish that they would make more 3D platforms. I love 3D platforms. But next question from Beef Hammer. Not sure if this has been asked before, but do you boys believe that just the name Wii U was actually the reason for the console's failure? I'm sure it was a factor, but would it really have done much better if the only difference was calling it the Wii 2? I think that it can't be too understated how much of a problem it actually was, Jeff. So somebody just tweeted out like somebody trying to sell a Wii U on eBay and still just calling it a Wii. Like even to this
Yeah.
day, it
Right.
still is up like kind of like this confusion. Now, like the Wii U had a lot of other problems in that the concept wasn't that appealing, and Nintendo was coming off this awkward phase where they put so much of their kind of studios behind that blue ocean strategy of making those more casual games, but that audience was actually mostly still just playing Wii Sports or Wii Sports Resort anyways. So there was some stagnation with its most popular franchise, like Skyward Sword. Like Zelda after Skyward Sword was not the Zelda we have after Breath of the Wild in terms of its power, right?
Right. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things against the Wii U, but I think the name is probably still the worst. I think that is what hurt it. Like that.
Yeah. I mean, everything piles on top of like a focal point, right? The focal point is the name, and then everything sort of counts against it, and the reason you don't learn the distinction between the names, right? If you cared about the system, you would learn the difference in the names, but because because most people didn't, it didn't matter that the name, or whatever the name was. It's like it became worse because the system was worse.
An apple a day keeps Mike away. That's very true. Says, would you prefer Nintendo Switch revision with the size and form factor of the 3DS XL or the Vita? I mean, if we get a Switch Lite OLED, I wonder how Vita-esque that's going to be. Right? It could be very Vita-esque, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, that would be neat. I think a Switch Lite OLED does present the opportunity to do even more with the form factor, but they probably will just keep it the same exact thing as the Switch Lite and then have a bigger screen that's OLED.
They're not going to clamshell it. That's for sure.
No.
A vacuum jug incoming says, "Dear Jeff, Rosebud is his sled Grubb."
Spoilers.
That's funny. Look, I didn't know that spoiler when I saw that movie, and I had an emotional response to it, Jeff. So there.
Gross emotions.
Mike,
disgusting.
and Mike, Vanilla Smash Bros. With no sprinkles is fine and naughty. What's the least controversial gaming take you have so we can all attempt to return to some sense of normalcy after all these spicy opinions the past week or so? Okay. That's let's see, what's the least controversial gaming take that I have? I mean, there's a lot that aren't very controversial, like liking Wind Waker a lot.
Yeah, Super Mario World is very good. Mario
64 is the most important video game of all time. How about that? Like that's not that controversial, is it? Super Mario 64 is probably the most. Yeah, Super Mario Brothers 1 still holds up. That's not very controversial. I think Nintendo makes good video games.
There you go.
Yeah, I like video games. Maybe that's controversial anymore? Just saying I like video games. That's actually maybe disgusting. Velocity Prime 1 says, "Dear Dogs, you have been transported into a 90s mascot platformer of your favorite vintage. What items do you collect to progress through the game, i.e., such as Mario Stars in Mario 64 or Jiggies in Banjo-Kazooie?" I mean, my first thought, just staying on brand, was packets of Arby's sauce.
Yeah.
Which would be a pretty amazing collectible, actually. So I guess I will just stick with that. You get packets of Arby's sauce, and you need 2,000 of them to 100% the game.
That sounds good. I would 100% that game.
Thank you. What would your item be, Jeff? Or you want to piggyback off mine?
Yeah, I want to piggyback off your. I don't. Yeah, because I don't know. I think I was gonna just say Arby's roast beef sandwiches. So, but Arby's sauce is even better. Yeah.
Yeah. Natalie Plorpman says, "Dear Barry Brothers, what's the last thing that made you think, now that's just poggers?" Man, I don't think anything has ever made me think, now that's just poggers.
I was
that
like,
sounds like
that
a sitcom.
sex was poggers, man.
That sounds like a sitcom. No, that's just poggers. Right? Like, that's so Raven.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely on a Disney Channel.
Beaver. Like, it has that energy. That's just poggers. Disgusting. Turbo Mad says, "Hey, Jeff Gengar Rub and Mike Milk Tank Naughty. It's been a while since we saw that reveal trailer for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. It has been. Will Nintendo's likely June Direct give us more gameplay, and more importantly, will we finally see Quaxley kick ass and take names?" Normally, this stuff has all been happening in Pokemon specific directs or presentations. Now, if Nintendo does want to have a big like E3 show, maybe then they'll use their kind of 1/3 pool in the Pokemon company to be like, please let us have this for our show because this is our console's big holiday game. We really want to be able to showcase it there. I'm sure it's not going to be much longer till we see more of Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah. I would imagine it's supposed to again just stick to the normal release cadence of how they do these releases. So yeah, I think you're right.
Reso, it says, "I've never had Arby's as I grew up in Wales and now live in Amsterdam. I'm visiting the States soon, so what do I need to order to see what all the fuss is about? Get either a regular roast beef or a beef and cheddar, whichever one thinks suits your fancy more. If you want cheese sauce and the thing, get Arby's sauce to put in your sandwich, and get curly fries and mozzarella sticks. Mozzarella sticks are surprisingly great. Those are the essentials, I would say."
Yeah. Mike, have you tried the burger?
Not yet. People
are kind of raving about it. I'm surprised.
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised. It's Arby's.
Listen, I want to say, when I first heard about it, I felt a little bit like, no, man, you don't need to do that. You don't need to sink to their level.
I'm okay doing it specifically if it's kind of gimmicky. Like, yes. Arby's is making a burger.
Yeah,
right?
You're right. Exactly.
Like,
but now I'm like, it's good.
I
got to try it.
Yeah. It should be like the McRib. It shouldn't be on the menu all the time.
Yeah, true. Yes.
Like
yes. Only when beef prices are especially low do we get it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pennywise says, "Happy day, beef nin and 9 Inch Nails cheddar dogs. I remember a couple weeks back when sites like IGN and whatnot brought up that industry experts were saying the new Breath of the Wild 2 footage was too big for Switch. Therefore, it means the experts are thinking a new Switch is coming. The experts they were referring to was from a Digital Foundry podcast where the guys were just talking. You mentioned that, yeah, the video seemed to have effects that looked better than what the game will probably look like. They never said anything about too big or that it's proof of a new console. The guys at Digital Foundry definitely seemed annoyed by being misquoted like this. I wonder how often that sort of thing gets on your nerves. I find it so strange that many publications are using these podcasts to grab credible information rather than actual articles you guys or other publications officially write up. Do you ever have to follow personally with these different publications and set the record straight? I mean, my big incident was when there was that Kotaku story about, it was like Kotaku was they're blacklisted from Ubisoft first off, right? And then so when they did the kind of press event for Far Cry 5 and everybody's previews came out, they kind of were like, look at all these gross journalists talking about how good Far Cry 5 looks, even though Ubisoft is awful. And I was annoyed because I wrote a preview. I was there, and it was basically all about how I thought the game was boring and didn't look very good. And they used my one quote where I said, I mean, the game's really big and it looks pretty. And they used that, like, look what Games Beats Mike Minotti says. And then, like, the link didn't even link to the story. It was like a link to some other website because they mislinked it. That was annoying. But it's also like, I try not to get too worked up about Jeff. I'm not a big fan of having these inner media beefs. It's all just kind of unbecoming. And I know I'm a guy who seems to be coming on everything. Why did I say that? But what the hell's wrong with me? But yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. Damn it, Jeff.
What were you even trying to say, Mike? What were you even trying to say? I'm so lost.
Jeff, please start talking.
Okay, so we're having technical difficulties with our brains, apparently. I'll say that this happens to me all the time.
This is all Christian's fault. He's been playing that goddamn Master Chief Comes thing too many times.
Yeah, listen, I get it, Mike. I'm so lost on what you were even listen.
God damn it! Why is Rachel here?
Yeah. Okay. I get frustrated when I get misquoted. Here's the thing.
Nobody better misquote me on that. Yeah, that's gonna be a good talking now.
You could be, but here's the problem. You could be directly quoted, Mike, and it's just what you said.
No, that's not what I said. They're taking it out of context, Jeff.
Yeah, sure. Listen, my DMs are open, and when people write stuff about stuff I say and they never reach out, I'm a little bit annoyed because I'm very accessible. But at the same time, if like you're writing about me and you're just trying to get those clicks, I get the hustle. I understand the hustle. And it's on me to be as clear as possible. And so I've learned my lesson after 50 times of this happening, where I'm like, okay, if I say very specifically, people don't go write a story about this. People are usually pretty good about respecting that sort of thing. But yeah, there's so many fanboys who are so certain that I'm wrong about all kinds of stuff. And it's just because they are getting this telephone circus of information that is like, Jeff Grubb said this was going to happen. And it was like someone asked a question and they asked my opinion and I guessed and I said it was a guess. But all that stuff gets lost. And that is very annoying when I'm like, what are you even when did I even say this thing you're talking about? And it's like, well, I never really did. And that's annoying. But I only get so mad at websites that do it. I agree with Mike. I'm not going to hold it against anybody. It's just people trying to pay their bills. And I get it. And it works. We know that VGC gets like when I do a Grubb Snacks, they get a lot of traffic from the stuff that I talk about. And it's like, oh man, I'd almost rather just be trying to figure out ways for us to harness that traffic instead of getting mad at someone else for doing the thing.
But it's also like we know, and most people know that traffic doesn't actually make people money very much anymore.
Yes, these days, yeah. Our money comes from events.
To care. Yeah, our money comes from events. I don't really look at our own traffic that much anymore. It's not that big of an issue. So, Jeff, what I was trying to say, not to linger on this, what I was trying to say
let's linger on how you come on everything.
Well, I was trying to because I was saying it's unbecoming. I was like, it's rich coming from me, who seems like he's not above anything. I was like, I'll use play word with unbecoming. That'll be witty. And my brain was working too fast, Jeff. It was a disaster.
Sometimes you gotta just slow it down, Mike. You gotta check yourself before you come on everything. Yeah.
Let's move on. Bench JC, please, says, hello, Meat Man Jeff. I feel like to keep your kids occupied during your long drive, you should have all of them watch every Kingdom Hearts cutscene. I feel like it would really keep them busy. Also, Mike, when are you washing Jeff's hair? Yeah, Jeff, when do you want me to wash your hair?
Yeah.
I feel like a nice normal guy to do that.
I'll be nude in the shower. You have to be fully clothed, like LL Cool J in that music video, which is the reference point here, everybody. But yeah, as soon as I get to Ohio, I'm expecting the first day or two. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. One Up versus CPU says the Wii and DS stores have been under maintenance for 2 months, preventing people from re-downloading. Are they finally dead? They're in a state of at least undeath, I would say.
Yes,
right?
yes, and non-alive is how I would put it. Yeah.
Jedi Moss 4 says, happy Tuesday, Jeff and Mike. In light of the consensus formed by the enlightened discourse online, have you both fulfilled your moral duty and obligation of canceling your Game Pass subscription? Not yet, just because I'm not ready for the New York Times story yet. I got to get my press release figured out first, so that they know when I cancel Game Pass and they can kind of, get ahead of that. How about you, Jeff?
I wasn't listening to the question. Let's see here.
Are you still thinking about me? Are you distracted? I'm sorry I derailed things.
Honestly,
look how many more likes we got, though, after I said that.
Honestly, I'm still thinking about the cards versus cartridges, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, we got... People hate your opinion. Yeah, let's all think about that some more, how much we hate Jeff's opinion about that. He was what he was saying. Have you canceled your Game Pass subscription? I guess. But in a joking way. I don't think he really wants to. No.
I have mine sort of through a couple of years, and it's whatever. Once it lapses, I will just more than likely just let it keep going each month and not even pay that much attention, because that's kind of how I am with this stuff.
Jedi Moss 4 also said, P.S. It's only Tuesday and the discourse already has me tired. That's it, Jeff. The discourse just has me so tired.
That's right.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even be able to if you wanted to. We gotta do something about this show. Oh man.
Something has to be done.
Something has to be done. Someone
might,
please do something.
We've been having fun, Jeff. Maybe
Yep.
we need to add a second banned word. We already banned the B word. Maybe it's time to retire the C word. We had our fun,
Yeah,
but
fair enough.
you know,
Yep.
it's getting now. I'm beginning to think the word is more acceptable than it is. We've been saying it too much.
We're saying it too much.
We can't. Yeah, we gotta stop. We gotta stop seeing all over the place here.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that was fun while it lasted.
it was. Okay. I'm going.
Yeah, I know. I got it. I thought the same joke. I did the same joke. Yep. I know.
Almost did the same thing. Let's say here, Mr. Bower says, "Greeting, little lads who love beef and cheddar. Last week's discussion of the Starburst berries and cream commercial brings up the question: what are some of the strangest, good or bad, video game advertisements you can remember? For me, it's the creepy PlayStation 3 commercial with the baby doll that didn't make me want to get a PlayStation 3, but did make me want to never see that commercial again." I always thought like that commercial wasn't that bad in context of the time, Jeff. There was a lot of ads that were just like, let's be weird as fuck, and I don't know, it's better if you remember us.
Right. Okay, the strangest ad in terms of like how did this ever get made was that one where it was like, I don't know, were they going to release like a white PSP or PS Vita, and so or like a black PS Vita or something like that. So they had like a white lady choking a black woman in the UK or something like that.
Yeah,
that was a weird one. And then also the one where it's like the Vita is like if you had boobs on your back, that would be great. And I'm like, wait, what? What the fuck? What are you?
Right.
That's just strange. That's not enticing at all.
Well, is it PSP or Vita that had the squirrels, the cartoon squirrels screaming about nuts?
Oh, I don't remember that one. I don't think.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. That was one. Yeah, a lot of them was PlayStation, at least for TV. I just reshared this magazine ad for one of the Goemon games in Nintendo 64, which is like Goemon with his hair sticking out of a hot tub surrounded by girls in bikinis, and the ads are really like, we don't know what it is, but it sure is fun. Like, literally, the people who had to make the advertisement probably had the issue I did when I rented the game and just like didn't know how to play it and had to make an ad like a hot tub.
Yeah, Richard Kaiser says, I think the black-white ad was in the Netherlands. I could be wrong. It was definitely something like that. That sounds right.
And PSP had the squirrel ad.
Okay.
I remember Ego Raptor did like a cartoon of the squirrel ad that me and my brother found very funny for a while.
Dan Reichert I think on his Twitch channel, I saw this on the Giant Bomb Reddit. He posted that the very sexual 32X ads, like, you know, this thing it was like we're gonna be edgy, and then the 32X was like we're just gonna basically show you naked ladies, and it was a completely nude lady, and she's just like strategically covered by 32X screenshots, and the ads like, in case you didn't notice, there's a naked woman on this page because you were just too busy looking at the awesome like 256 colors of the 32X or whatever.
I think the Saturn literally just also had a naked lady ad. I remember that now. Yeah, shockingly. I remember Yoshi's Island also just had a gross ad of like a guy eating, basically doing the Monty Python sketch. We just kept eating, and then he has like the one more bite and blows up, and it was disgusting. Mm-hmm. So yeah, a lot of weird things like that. There's a lot of weird video game ads. It turns out it's weird, especially compared to now, Jeff, because there's just trailers. There really aren't. There's some TV ads, but even those are so just like basically here's the game. They don't get very cute with these things anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like the marketing is much more like we're going to pay someone on TikTok to talk about the game. Like that's the ad now.
Oh gosh, now I feel like Dugan's going to think I stole this idea from me. He said, "Woof, what are your feelings on the concept of book club for games? How about Earthbound with the Game Miss, or should we do a community vote?" Well, that's exactly what we're doing.
Yep, check out the Discord.
That? Yeah, I've actually was pondering this for a bit. Earthbound's one of the games we can vote for, along with Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance and Bug Fables.
Is the vote pinned? I imagine it's probably pinned, isn't it? Yes, it is right there. Okay.
I will say that right now, Metal Gear Rising is winning. It's not like this huge lead or anything like that.
That's just a scridshot of the word straw poll. Okay. I'm voting now.
What are you voting for?
Man, Earthbound's right there. God. I think I might vote for Bug Fables, though, even though I think there's very little chance of it winning. I would love to play Bug Fables.
I wouldn't mind playing it. I really do have an itch to play Revenge. It's like that was a story that because it's been getting memed so much that it's like been being played a lot more. But I have actually been hankering to play it. And I thought I would wait for my Steam Deck. Like, this will be a fun game to play on my Steam Deck. I don't know if I can wait that long, actually.
Yeah,
So,
fair. I mean, I can
Rachel,
play it on my
check
Steam
out.
Deck, so I will absolutely.
Yeah. So I think
I've not played any of these games.
Yeah.
I've played a little bit of Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, but never played through it. So many of these will be fine with me.
Honestly, this is something that I used to do back on the oneup.com kind of message boards that they had there. I was in a group called the Squadron of Shame.
Right.
It's basically like this friend group, and but we would do a game club kind of a thing where we would pick a game and kind of all play through it together. And it was fun. Like, it was fun. Like, that's how I play games like Silent Hill 2 and some other stuff that I would have never played otherwise. So I think it'll be a fun thing for us to do. Hosp says, "Hey, dogs. Hope you guys are doing great. I'm off to Spain next week, and it got me wondering what you prefer to play when on your travels. Finally nabbing a copy of Eastward to see what all the fuss is about." Jeff, I always bring like all my game stuff when I'm like flying, and then I actually just take a Dramamine and fall asleep the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah, I've played a few things while traveling and stuff. I mean, the things that the biggest memories are when I was a kid in the back seat and had no responsibilities. So it was like, it's like stress free, and the only stress was like trying to get a light on the Game Boy screen that was not backlit in the back seat of the car back in the the 80s and 90s when windshields must have just been worse, Mike, because whenever you had a light on the back seat, the parents would just be like, "Oh my God, it's the end of the world."
They would freak out.
Yes, and it had to just be like reflecting off the screen. They must just not be able to see anything, because today my kids do that, and I could see everything. I'm like, you're not supposed to, so I still don't want, like, because it's like a distraction to other drivers, I guess. At least that was my understanding for a while. But it doesn't bother me as a driver that the light is on. And so, but like back then, it's like, so I had this Game Boy I couldn't see, so I would like, I remember, I'm sure I told this story before, but I took off my shoe and my sock, and I like got the sock to go into like the handle that was on the car, and the handle was right outside the light, and so I could like block the light until it was just basically pointing straight down, and I could turn on the light like without my parents noticing, and play through Link's Awakening or whatever. So those are my biggest memories of playing games while traveling.
Soji Kodo says, "Hey, Berry Boys, with Nintendo disabling the ability to add funds to your Nintendo ID wallet as of today, excluding the fact that you can still link your Nintendo account and share funds from there, what are a few 3DS games you'd panic buy for yourselves or recommend to others?" Yeah, I struggle with this because I can't think of too many like digital only 3DS games, really. Like, I will say that for whatever reason, the Virtual Console version of the NES Mega Man games are actually very good. They run better than so like because the version of Mega Man 3 on there, for instance, actually fixed a couple of the visual bugs, and some of the there's a lot of lag in those games, or what the better word I'm thinking of, but you know what I mean. And that version actually just runs better. So that's the best version of Mega Man 3 that I liked, more so than playing the version that's in the Anniversary Collection. So if you really like Mega Man 3 like me, maybe grab that.
All the Sega 3D classics, but especially Outrun and especially Streets of Rage 2. They look fantastic in 3D.
There you go. That's actually a very good one too. Nintendo Bros says, "Hello, Beef and Berry Bros. Did anything ever come of the supposed Xbox/Nintendo partnership that was leaked last year, or was that just that Nintendo might end up using Azure?"
Yeah, I think, that's, I think at most it was going to be Nintendo was going to use Azure, and it was never anything major. It was, I think it was just them kind of saying, we might have a strategic partnership at some point. We're not even sure what it looks like. Very similar to what happened with Sony, where, if you haven't noticed, that's not really turned into anything major either. Where they had like that letter of understanding or that letter of intent, it never really turned it into anything real. And I think that was kind of similar with Nintendo.
Now Rachel is reminding me that some of those Ace Attorney games were only digital releases on 3DS, and I liked both the Dual Destinies and the Spirit of Justice or something like that. I liked both of those a lot, and they actually had good DLC cases too, so I would get those as well. And then Running Right says, "Hello, dogs. Ohio doesn't have a state dog. What petition do we need to get started to make the Nintendogs the Ohio State dog?" Yeah, well, first we're going to harass the government about that, making the original Arby's location a historic landmark. Then we'll get going on the official Nintendogs thing.
That sounds good. We've got a plan of action. I'm ready to go.
Wasn't Apollo Justice? Apollo Justice is an original DS game, I believe, Rachel. But yeah, Dual Destiny is the Spirit of Justice for sure. Apollo Justice, I don't know if I need to play that one again. I liked it okay, but I don't know if I need to play it again.
Yeah,
I'm
fuck
still not
Apollo
over-
Justice. I agree with Mike.
Yeah, the weird characterization of Phoenix Wright as some like emotionless bohemian like bum man. I still not over that one. And then Gerbear says, "Hey guys, last week a bunch of people who should know better got a bad case of the red ass over the story about Xbox outselling PlayStation in Japan. Do you think of a Nintendo-related news story you originally thought was at most sorta interesting, but were then shocked to see grown adults taking very seriously indeed?" Gosh.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's a famous example of this.
Oh,
and
there's
Pokemon Go. Yeah, Pokemon Go being like, oh, that's Pokemon Go's doing super well. Oh my God, we should all invest all our money in Nintendo because they're making billions of dollars. Oh wait, that's a different company that runs Pokemon Go. And Nintendo does see some of that money, but it's like kind of a fraction of it, and it doesn't work exactly that way. Oh, there's something called the Pokemon Company. People like investment professionals were doing that, and
Right.
Nintendo's stock price went way up for a day, and then everyone got told by their secretaries, "Yo, you're dumb as hell. Like that's a different company." And then like, sell everything. So yeah, I remember that.
Man. It is a good record. It is like good to remember that because like I understand gaming, and the fact that like I understand what happened there is always a good reminder of why maybe I shouldn't take stocks too seriously. Okay, next one here from Pablo Costa's got a couple more here. It says, "Hey, signores de cheddar e carne." Actually, yeah, that means the misters of cheese and beef. Last of the Nintendogs' first anniversary is coming soon. Is it? Huh. And I wonder, are you doing anything special? Maybe Nintendo only Jeopardy to celebrate the occasion. Have a great day. Man, Jeff, I haven't even thought about that, huh?
Yeah,
I guess it should be
go
around
ahead.
episode number. I mean, how many?
52. I don't think we haven't missed a beat, right? I don't think we missed a week.
I don't think we have. We've been pretty regular about this for a bit now. We'll figure something out. I don't know about a Jeopardy thing. Maybe Jeff and I will just stream a bunch of Nintendo games or something.
Yeah,
Jeff will
maybe,
be here actually, so maybe I could just like go to his place and we'll do something together.
yeah, maybe we could like react to a Nintendo like E3 thing or something.
Yeah, we'll figure out something fun to do. Almost feel like it both like, well, I can't believe it's already happening. It also kind of feels like we've been doing this show forever already.
Agreed.
To be honest,
That's
you know?
where I'm like, oh man, we're still only in the 40s. Weird. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, it's like I feel like this has been going on forever now. And then Lossian says, "Hey guys, hope your week is going well. Why do you think Sony is using the PAL version of games for the new PlayStation Plus service? P.S. Congrats." Oh, that's a spoiler, but yes, he's congrating somebody. I don't know, Jeff. I think it's got to be. I'm sure they have some reason, but it can't be a good enough reason. So it's mostly incompetence. If this is what's actually happening with the PAL thing.
Yeah, I think you're right. I just think that they're like, oh yeah, the PAL version. That's what I played. That's fine. I mean, 'cause most of the people in charge who make these decisions would be like, the PAL version was fine. And I just think the people like going along the chain of command, like not many people question it, and that is incompetence.
Vision 49 says, "Hey, beef and cheddar gentlemen, after the success of the Switch, can Nintendo ever go back to a system that is strictly a home console like the GameCube or Wii, or is every game system going to have to be some iteration of the Switch for the foreseeable future?" I mean, for the foreseeable future, I would think so. I mean, why not, right?
Yeah, I mean, they already combined all their development studios from like handheld to, and home console into, more unified teams. I think if they had like a dedicated home console and a dedicated handheld again, they would get in a situation where like, how does this make sense in terms of our division of labor? That might be the sort of factor that really says like, no matter what, we always have to have something that is at least a handheld, and then just all the games need to run on that. And then at that point, what's the point of a home console only?
Right.
We might get like, oh, here is a $50 puck that can play Switch games, and you can plug it into your TV if you're a weirdo.
It's not going to be the flagship ever again.
Yes, and that's right.
Turbo Sean says, "Happy Tuesday, guys. I have a question for the blue-collar core aficionado over there. Jeff, how much will you lose your shit if Nintendo announces Mario Plumbing, a simulator that plays exactly how it sounds and takes full advantage of the capabilities of the Joy-Cons?" Just imagining Jeff doing those gestures now is already disgusting.
I'm maybe only so excited because I think Nintendo would whimsy it up a little bit too much for my taste. It
wouldn't be boring enough for Jeff.
Yeah, it's pretty much what I'm saying. Like I want like, I want the game to be about like the problems you create by trying to solve other problems, and Nintendo just be like, yeah, here's a power up, and like it works so good in so many other genres and stuff. But in the blue collar core genre, in the wage core genre, I just kind of want it to be dull. I really do. I want it to be like the monotony is the point, or the monotony is not the right word, but like yes, the mundanity is the point. Yeah.
It also says, P.S. Mike, are you free next Friday night, June 3rd, for a Smash game night featuring a special public ass whipping? I mean, exhibition featuring me, you, and a best of 5 show. Best of 5. That's interesting. Some have to be no items, and some have to be items. Yeah, I think next Friday should work. I'll make sure. But yeah, everyone thinks I don't have a chance here, Jeff. I think I could beat Turbo Sean in Smash Brothers. Not in a
I
lot
like
of
the confidence.
Smash
I honestly
Brothers.
don't know. I mean, I know he's like training and stuff, but he's like, you know, multidisciplinary in terms of like playing a lot of different fighting games, and you've been very much just focused on Smash. I think that gives you maybe some advantage, or maybe I'm completely talking on my ass right now, and I'm just trying to keep it interesting, and I think you really don't stand a chance at all. But who knows? Who could say what I really feel in my heart?
Oh, he says no items, so beat me on my terms. Oh,
okay. Wow. All right then.
Well, all right then. Let's see how it goes. Maybe I might get my friends here for some practicing nights here. That's it, Jeff. Do you want to read the super chats?
I do, actually. Yes. Let's start here with Uriel Delgado, who says, it's Morbin time. Sony gonna make Morbius game, right? Yeah, any minute now. Absolutely.
That's what Xbox wanted to do, and that's why they didn't get the license.
That's right. Let's see. Then George sent in that $1 super chat. And that was he asked for a price for what it would take to get me to talk trash about Tim Geddes. I said $1. So here we go. Tim Geddes is too well put together. There's something wrong there, right? Wow. He's hiding something. I think he might be a killer. Maybe he's like maybe he's a messy eater of some sort. But I think there's just something beneath the surface that we need to start questioning. We need to look closer. I don't trust the man. I don't trust him one bit. And frankly, I think we could probably settle this in Kind of Funny Wrestling, but I'm too busy demolishing everyone else in front of me. So
yeah, you've got a lot of feuds already.
Yeah, who knows when I would ever get around to someone as pathetic as Tim Geddes. There you go. Let's see. From XX Ghost Sniper XX, who I believe is no longer allowed in the chat. Bruh, talking Xbox flopping, Halo sucking, and no games. Thank you for the super chat, Ghost Sniper.
Thank you.
Donnie Reese says, is Jim Ryan approaching Don Matrick levels? And then he does the teeth gritting emoji, like, or is it the sucking through the teeth? No, because Don Matrick had the problem of like saying a bunch of dumb shit and then putting out a system that wasn't selling nearly as well as the previous system.
Right. And
PS5 is selling much faster than even the PS4, or at least it was until like the supply constraints. Okay, we got more from Ghost Sniper here. You kept labeling me Xbox killer, but I told you, and then it just cuts off there.
But what did he tell us?
He told us through my actions that I actually am Xbox killer. That I'm filling in the blanks there. From XX Ghost Sniper XX. Boy, this guy just wants to give us his money. Game Pass is flopping. So is Xbox. Fire Phil Spencer.
We need to really ban him. We need to unban him. He gives us money.
I know. Well, he just comes up with a different name.
But why does he care who's in charge of Microsoft if he hates them so much?
I don't know. And why does he think we have the power to fire Phil Spencer? I don't have that power. All right.
I do actually. But
okay. Wow, Mike. Man, get around to doing that. Yeah. From Nintendo Bro, dropping the $100 super chat. Thank you so much, Nintendo Bro. He says, been a while since I've been able to tune in live due to working overnight. Just wanted to help put some gas in your tank for the move, Jeff. Love all you do for our community, and the podcasts are great too. Yeah, absolutely. Nintendo Bro, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I actually got to put gas in the minivan and in the Prius all the way across the country, so every little bit helps. I really do.
I'm still taking my 50% cut.
Of course. From Damian Ellington. Afternoon, guys. Either of you surprised that NES Remix or a Super NES Remix hasn't made it to the Switch yet? The game seems perfect for the Switch. I never really loved those games. I thought they were only okay. I thought they didn't like fully fulfill the promise of what they could have been.
Yeah, I would almost like to see him revisit that idea in some kind of different way. It's a good idea, but yeah, maybe do something different with it.
Yeah,
but they probably won't. They kind of do it like it's like, oh, here's Mario 99. Like, they do things, but maybe not that thing again.
Right, like they'd have to like rethink the structure. I think. I think I wanted to be like faster and more More strange, something closer to WarioWare,
Sexier.
probably sexier, more dangerous. Yes.
Yes.
From Dead Planet. Over under 5 Xbox Game XGS. What is it? Xbox Game Studios. Sorry, okay.
Yeah.
Over under 5 Xbox Game Studios first party releases for 2023. That's I think that's the right number for like doing an over under. I think it's like right there on the edge.
Yeah, but with
think
delays,
I'm gonna go
I'll
over.
go under. No, with
You're gonna go
delays,
under?
I'll go under.
Okay, yeah. I mean, for 2023, I'm going to go over because we're going to get Redfall and Starfield, and then I think 3 others seems pretty likely.
Yeah, that's like maybe Hellblade. There won't be. Well, if Forza gets delayed, then we'll get a Forza too. So it's hard to say, but like I don't think we're getting Perfect Dark next year or Fable next year.
No, but I think Avowed could come and stuff like that.
Avowed,
We'll see.
maybe grounded.
It's going to be. I think it's going to be right. I wouldn't be surprised if it's right exactly on 5.
Nintendo Bros saying Mike's better pay for a homecoming gift now from that my $50 cut of his really generous, meaningful super chat. Yeah, I'll get Jeff something nice. Don't you worry about it.
Yeah, what did I get you the Arby's thing for behind you over your shoulder?
That's my birthday.
Birthday, okay.
I've deserved good things though.
That's a good point.
I come on the show and I never say anything weird or embarrassing.
No,
so I deserve presents.
Never would. Tim Ford dropping the $20 super chat. Thinking about quitting my job and going back to school to become a meep. Is it worth the massive loans and years of study? Hey. Yes. Hey, should someone take on huge amounts of debt to become a meep? She says yes. She says yes, and now she's hugging me because she just thinks about meeps. So, I mean, that tells you right there that it's worth it. Okay, I know you love memes. I'm so glad to hear that. From Joe S. Are we supposed to take Jeff's word? 2 minutes on the internet has shown me that a game card is a type of cartridge. English is a fluid language. If everyone calls it a cartridge, it's a cartridge. And then he says the word GIF.
Is this your argument for E3?
No, don't hit buttons. Yeah, listen, I don't like my arguments being used against me. Of course that's true. Of course, if you want to call it a cartridge, yeah, you could do that. Language is fluid. But to me, listen, like an ink cartridge is a cartridge becomes it contains the stuff that becomes part of the mechanism, but whatever. If you want to call it a cartridge, I'm not. That's why I only yelled at it when Mike did it.
Start screaming weird, ugly words, and that'll get you out of this mess. Don't worry.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I think that's important to like say like a disc is not a cartridge. I mean, even though it works in the exact same way.
I think it's important to say that.
I don't know why. I don't know. I think it's important. Like, listen,
say
I don't know. It's definitely not.
But
But I think it is, and that's all that matters right now.
Wow! Can you all believe what Jeff's saying? That's definitely our big takeaway from this episode. Are the things that Jeff said.
Listen, I'm with you. Yes, please get mad at me instead of whatever happened earlier. We need to just forget that. Here, let me do the Men in Black flash on the camera here. From Joe S. Are we supposed to? Oh no, I'm sorry. That was the one. Divin Greedy with a super chat, $10. Thank you so much. Steven Sullivan. Pikmin 3 Deluxe needs more love, and then the heart emoji.
Does it?
Yes, it does. It absolutely does need more love. It's close to getting the amount of love it needed because it was the best selling Pikmin, I think, and all that stuff. It just should be like one tier higher because it's so good. It's so well made. It's so well designed. They really just nailed that game so hard that I agree with Steven. Pikmin 3 Deluxe needs more love.
I'll get to it.
I mean, that also seems like a ripe game club game, but we'll see. Everybody, that does it for the super chats. If you want to send in any more, we will get to them before the end of the year.
End of the show, you mean?
Before the end of the show is what I mean. I saw someone use the word cartridge again in chat, and I'm just like, okay, I'm just seeing red. I'm seeing red. I'm so mad right now. Okay, this is so important to me.
I almost made another semen joke.
So the C word is banned. So let's just say semen.
Yeah. I mean,
Mike,
is it banned?
I'm really with you on your like. Here, this is going to be better for our situation.
Is it banned? Is it banned? Tell me, is it banned? Because
it's banned after this episode. I don't think we could do what we've done on this episode and then be like, chat can't say anything like that. You can't do the thing we just did. We're special. We're allowed to say come. Okay, that's the last time I'm going to say it. That's the last time I'm saying it. Everyone next week, though, 100% banned. We are done with this. There is no such thing as that after this week.
Yeah, we're all. I'm not gonna make that joke either.
You make moderation so hard, says Christian. Yeah, we're
Hey,
bad at this.
whoa,
We're
Christian's
bad at this.
complaining. He's the one. He's the one with the switch. Maybe how about this? Here's the compromise.
Okay. Go on,
We're
compromise.
banning everything but the Jeff Keighley thing where he says Master Chief comes.
Perfect. That could be that's our company motto. And then everything else is it's banned. Fair enough.
That's it. Yes. No more C word, no more B word. Yeah, no more getting cute with it with the other form of cum either. No, we're done. No line stepping. Just
hang on, Mike. I'm gonna pause the podcast real quick. What's up? Yeah, just real quick, because we gotta finish up, and then I gotta go get Emmy. I gotta be done in 10 minutes, so I can go get her. What's up? Yes. Okay. Are you okay? Okay. I'm back. Let's do. Okay. So, Mike, I'm done with the super chats. We have a topic though, right?
We do have a topic, Jeff. What do you want to call the Switch's successor? Is the phrase here?
Yeah. I don't know if I have a good. 'Cause, I mean, Switch 2 is just such the thing that only thing I could think of, right?
Yeah, I bet our community is going to be cute with this. So I'll just gotta say, I think it should just be called the Switch 2. I don't think, again, after what happened with the Wii U, I don't think you want to mess around with that.
I think that you could get away with Super Nintendo Switch.
I think you could. I think because of legacy of the Super NES, that will probably work. Even then, like Super can be conflated
right,
with
because
Switch
of Pro. Right, yes, that is a risk you would run, absolutely. But maybe they're in a situation where they're kind of like sort of okay with that, where they're like, yeah, the follow-up is definitely a new console, but everything from the previous, I mean, maybe that's another issue, is the Super Nintendo didn't work that way with the Nintendo, so maybe they wouldn't want to invoke that. But I don't know, I really like the way it sounds, Super Nintendo Switch, but because it has the word Super Nintendo in it.
Is there any chance it doesn't have the word Switch in it?
Yeah, there's a chance. It's Nintendo, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it could just be called the C word, right? Yeah. I mean,
it could be called, yeah. All right, then let's see what the community thinks about this. Loru says the Nintendo Switchation, like Mike the situation. Bench JC says Nintendo 358 over 2 days.
Mm-hmm. There you go. You're right. They got cute.
Then somebody yelled at me. It's actually 358 over 2 days, not 358. I forget.
Oh my god.
Testing negative for PED's Bob says, I'm just trying to think out of the box, but not too ridiculous. So I'm going to go with Switch Squared. It's more unique than calling it 2, and it has alliteration. And if it has upgrades to handheld and dock mode, it would double the upgrades. Plus, Switch Squared looks cooler. Jeff, that could probably work. It is rough, though, when you do that, because a lot of times that can still just read like Switch 2 to people.
Right. Yeah. And also, you probably get sued by Square Enix.
Right.
Yeah.
One Up versus CPU says, I'd call it the Switch fix because it would fix all the Switch's problems. It would have a real D-pad, a resistive touchscreen instead of the capacitive one nobody ever uses, sticks without drift, and it would be able to run last-gen ports at more than 540p, 21 FPS. 4K, let's try to get to 1080p first. Even have a tagline, get your Switch fix. That's pretty good. Yeah, Jeff, man, I feel like they're going to, just because it's going to be such a good thing to put in that box. I really do not need or want 4K on the Switch 2.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I get wanting to have it output 4K because, a lot of times when you put that through a TV, it's even because it's outputting 1080p now, it doesn't look great on 4K TVs. And so just if all that stuff's happening on the system, I'm fine with that. But I don't want them to make a big deal about trying to run games at 4K. No way.
Especially portable mode, right? Yeah, you're right.
Oh, yeah, that's a complete waste. Yes.
Yeah. God Rosa says, Switch Uwu. That's good. In all seriousness, just Super Switch would be pretty cool. Ezipsa says, yeah, you said Super Nintendo Switch. I wonder if it would just be Super Switch.
Yeah, maybe.
Ezipsa says, I happen to have an inside line via a good friend of marketing at Nintendo Australia, so I know it's going to be called the Nintendo Leopard. What is this? Leopard die? I don't. Strange name, but after I looked it up, it made sense. I do worry they're making a Wii U mistake again, though. There's a joke here that I'm missing, Jeff. What is this word?
I don't know. It sounds like it's in Irish or something. I don't know.
Leporide. Anyways,
okay. You keep going. I'm gonna go look at this thing.
Yeah, Diogo RP says Nintendo will be banking on those sweet organic traffic searches and SEO and just call it the Swift Drift. The Switch Drift. That's actually like not a awful sounding name, Switch Drift. On a serious note, I'd love to see them go the way of the bulky power names like GameCube. Switch is a great name, but lacks the oomph. Super Switch could be great. Super Switch seems to be pretty popular. Jamie H1224 says Switch Up makes sense as a level up / one up of the OG Switch, but I doubt it'll have the Switch name to avoid another Wii U. It's just a peripheral for the Wii incident. It confused the parents and grandparents of the world. What I'd love for them to do is bring back the most perfect name for a console ever in the Nintendo Revolution. The whole Revolution thing. Man, people sure did lose their minds when that system was actually called the Wii. Beefhammer says, call it the Pro Switch 64. We can easily shorten this to just be the PS6. This will cause no issues. Everyone will be happy, and fanboys will not at all happen. That'd be pretty funny.
Leopard Day is a family of rabbits and hares containing over 60 species of extant mammals in all. The Latin word leopardae means those that resemble lepus. So, together with the picas, the leopardae constitute the mammalian order Legomorpha. So I think that makes perfect sense now that we've read that.
Now I get the joke.
I get it. I'm not dumb at all. So
Turbo Giggy 64 says Nintendo Switch Advance. I don't think they'll do Advance because of the Pro problem again. I feel like Advance is too like you can switch that with Advance these days now.
Leopard Day is nuts. Is that it? No, that doesn't sound right either.
Leopard Day. I'm not going to fall into one of those. I've already done enough damage to myself. I don't need anybody's help. Dr. Turbo Sus says the Nintendo Switch Color, and Nintendo won't admit it is a new generation. They will call it a revision. Real guess is the Switch 4K. Oh, if they actually just call it the Switch 4K, Jeff, that's going to be so gross.
Yeah,
I'll be upset.
I that would be very disappointing. It's the wrong move.
Wildfire Alex says, after coming up with such an innovative and simple name, Nintendo only has one option left to take here. The successor to the Switch will be none other than the Nintendo Shift. It's literally just going to be a Switch, but instead of just being able to remove the dock and play on the go, you can now plug the system into your PC and play the games with all the bells and whistles of a modern gaming PC. We're already using loopholes and ship to play the damn thing on our computers already, so Nintendo should just go all in with this and make it readily accessible. There you go, Jeff. You'll just plug your Switch Shift into your PC, and then you can use that your 3080 or whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
Shoji Koda says Nintendo Switch it up. Dick Turbo says 358 Switches over 2. That's the second Kingdom Hearts related joke. That's good.
I mean, if you need to come up with a bad name for something, you go right to the Kingdom Hearts series.
Velocity Prime 1 says switch up to the streets. This is a reference to Step Up 2 from Mike. I understand that reference. I'm hip.
Every time I tell my kids to step up a step, I'm like, step up to the streets. I just can't even help myself.
An apple a day keeps Mike away, says Mitomoto and the Chipmunks Switch Rex. I think he meant Miyamoto and the Chipmunks.
Yeah.
Switch Rex.
Did you get start cheering now saying Nintendo Miyamoto? Yeah, Miyamoto.
Oh, I did miss that one. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Miyamoto. We got a bunch of Miyamoto jokes. But yeah, when does Miyamoto become so powerful?
Right. You just call it the Miyamoto. Yeah.
Just call it the Miyamoto. Natalie Plorpman says the slurp. Wait, what?
Slurpodrome.
Natalie Plorpman. I don't know who this actually is. But that's funny. And their name is the Slurpodrome.
Actor, stage, and screen.
Jeff, why do I think this is so funny?
I don't know, but I mean, I get it. I kind of get it.
Slurpodrome from Natalie Plorpman. Man, Natalie Plorpman is such a good name. I don't know what your name used to be, whoever this was, unless you're somebody new. But Natalie Plorpman needs to be your forever name now. That's like when my one friend was playing World of Warcraft, and they made a Tauren, which are like the big like steer, like cow people.
It's the spiritual successor to Get a Bitch, Get a Donut.
Yeah, that was also good. Anyways, he named his Tauren Jessica Veal and was very proud of himself. And this is maybe Natalie Portman's even better.
Yeah.
That he just changed the name. Says Mike, this is casual. No, it's not. You're not casual anymore. You are now Natalie Portman.
Congratulations, Natalie Portman.
Vacuum Jug incoming says, as previously called, the Power Nintendo Entertainment System. What's the acronym for that again? Oh no, we lost frames.
Yeah, but we got to keep going because I got to go in like 5 minutes, so we got to run through these anyhow. We're fine.
He wants to call it the penis, is what he's saying. Charlie Blaze says Switch X. It's too close to Xbox to happen, but I just like the way it sounds. Switch X. Switch X. Have you played the new Wave Race on Switch X? That's actually
it's
not terrible.
Already. Yeah, it's already
better than I would have thought.
They're not gonna do XCO because of Xbox, so yeah.
Dayton says Nintendo Infinity. It's their 8th home console, which turned sideways is an Infinity symbol.
They did that with Mario Kart 8. Yeah.
Terrible Madden says, boom, tough acting Switch act. These people are doing better with this than I thought they would.
Yes, they are.
The visualizer says the Nintendo Swissy. No. Yep. Pennywise says, make it a slimmer system and call it the Switchblade, or they can make it require a stylus again like the DS. But if
do you have anything to declare, sir, as you come into our country? I just have a Switchblade.
Yeah, I think
this
is witty. Nintendo would never name a system after a weapon that can stab a person.
The Nintendo, I have a gun.
Take says the Nintendo S and Witch. Oh, sandwich. And it's the first console you can eat. So, well, they already made the delicious cartridges, right, Jeff?
No,
cartridges that you lick. That's what they're called. Yeah. You don't have the time to argue back, do you?
I don't. We gotta do cartridges. I've accepted it. Everybody, just move on.
Reselling it. Name the Super Nintendo Chicken. It's like a Nintendo Chicken, already awesome, but with superpowers. It can shoot projector beams onto the wall and then beam AAA games about Nintendo chickens. Inside baseball. Every Monday, I have a Colorado night and laugh my ass off about sending in these.
That makes sense. That's the way to do it.
I'm glad you're amused. Hey, look who it is. It's Edge Guy, my brother. Because look, it should be called the Switch 2 because that's what the system should be. Same Joy-Con, same UI, same store, but you can use cartridges with different cutouts for next-gen exclusive games. PlayStation has done it 5 times, and it's working just fine for them. Now, since it's Nintendo, they'll probably call it the Nintendo Switch On because it'll have something pointless like an always-on home screen that uses a low power state or some bullshit, and no one will understand that it's a new console. Possible. Jeremy G, still sub to Game Pass, says, a Nintendo Super Wicked Industrial Tech Console for home, or Nintendo Switch, for short. The Nintendo Switch Pro, says Mr. Bowler. No way anyone gets confused by that name. Lostine says, I don't think Nintendo will Nintendo the name of the Switch's successor, so it will be Switch 2. Equivalent X says Switch U with the W capitalized.
Yeah, the WII should all be, there you go.
It's the SWU. MN Goldie says, I would like it to be called a Super Switch. It's fun to say. Say it 5 times
Super
fast.
Switch, Super Switch, Super Switch, Super Switch, Super Switch. Ooh, that is fun.
I already messed up. Dugan says, how about the Nintendo Switch NX? It was a good code name. Just think of all the 2015, 2017 articles that would get a fresh hit.
Let's get in on that.
The Nintendo NX. I just remembered that now. Tyler James Bay says, Switch U2. And it comes with a free copy of that awful U2 album installed on each comp. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, there you go.
Juvich says, Nintendo Switchcast. Functionally a Wii U, the way everyone thought it was at first. The controller, the new Switchcast with Joy-Cons, is the next-gen Switch that streams to TV, maybe via HDMI stick device. Switchcast. Hosp says, Switch Deck got a nice familiar ring to it. Ron Robogis says, what I would like to be called a Super Switch or Switch 2. What they will call it is the Nintendo Switch successor to the Nintendo Switch Model T.
That is close to what they've been doing recently.
Nintendo Bro says, you've heard of the Switch Lite. We at Nintendo would like to present to you the Lite Switch. This next iteration of our popular Switch consoles is not only super light to help address ergonomics, but it also functions as a smart hub for all your smart home devices. You can say things like light switch, turn on the TV, or light switch, turn on the bedroom lights. Now you're really playing with power. Pinball Jr. says Nintendo Switch Deluxe. Vision49 says the Nintendo cease and the Switch. And also with the Switch U joke with it looking like a Wii.
Mm-hmm.
Pablo Costa says Nintendo Switch S. We like to play you Definitive Edition. And then Turbo Sean says, somehow nobody said it. So here's the obligatory switch to Electric Boogaloo. All right, Jeff really has to go because he's playing the music. Next week, Star Wars Celebration is happening soon. What is your favorite Star Wars game on a Nintendo platform?
Oh, fun.
That's not what we're doing. All right, Jeff, what do you want to say?
I love you, everybody. We're so sorry for what we've done this episode. Please find it in your heart to forgive us. Come back next week with a new banned word. Yes.
Yeah, when I see what word gets banned.
Yeah.
This time it was my fault. I did this. I ruined the fun for. I was the one who took it too far. I ruined it for everyone. We'll be back on Friday with Games Week Decides, everybody. It's gonna be a great time.
Yes, it will be. Mike, have you been playing any games? I've been kind of like on the Switch a little bit.
I mean, I've been playing a little Shining Force. I've been actually did a Super Mario Brothers playthrough for funsies, just to kind of break up all of that turn-based combat. Yeah. So,
Everybody. Come on, come cruising. All right, let's go get Emmy.